Welcome back to another episode of Growing Your Victory Garden. I'm Ashley Mariani with Pit Moss, and I'm here with the fabulous Doug Oster.
Last week it was wonderful. Now it's fabulous. That works for me.
I figured. So it's almost Halloween. So it's right around the time that we are putting that garden to bed, unfortunately. So Doug, what do you have for me today?
This might be the longest the garden has gone without frost. Some people up north have got frost, but we have not got one in this garden. But it's time to start getting some of the Doug's disaster under control here. You know, we did have a 8-foot tall Tithonia here. We had this filled with tomato plants, but they've done their job.
Yeah.
And so now we want to get all this stuff out, and then we are actually going to plant something called a cover crop. Instead of bringing in, like I am, compost every time, if you can't, you can plant this cover crop, and that's a green manure.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to supervise, get all this stuff out of here, and I'll be sitting back over here.
Oh, wait a second.
All right, I'll show you what we're going to do.
Okay.
Let's get to work. Well, the first thing is going to be get these tomato cages out of here, and I've got them tied together.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Then we'll move the mulch out of here. We'll get all these containers out of here, and then we'll plant our cover crop.
Okie doke.
It's a sad day when the cages come out, as we talked about last week.
You know what? They did some great work this year.
Oh, look at that.
So.
This is a disaster. You always have these ideas when you first start in the season how pretty it's going to look, but it never does this time of the year.
I'm putting my garden to bed this Saturday, so, it's always it's not the least fun part of gardening, I think.
These cages are made out of something called concrete reinforcing wire. You buy it in a roll of like 25 feet. It's cheap.
You can roll it yourself.
Yeah, and you make these are much better than those cages you're going to get in the store.
I can tell, way sturdier.
Yeah, and they last forever. Found a cucumber.
There you go.
It was supposed to be one called brown Russian. It's not brown.
No, it's not, but it's still a cucumber.
Still a cucumber. Ashley, there's lots of different cover crops. This is the easiest one to find. It's called winter rye. All that seed there was $2. Now, normally, to put a garden to bed, I would put compost on here. But there are some spots where I like to use the cover crop. Again, it's a green manure. What we're going to do is we're going to throw it down this late in the season. Believe it or not, it's going to sprout into this flat-bladed grass that will stay in place here. There's many benefits to it.
Yeah.
First, it's going to hold this good soil in place. You could lose 1/4 of an inch to erosion over the winter with the winds. And then these cover crops, especially winter rye, it's a good place for beneficials to hide out for the winter.
Okay.
Grab some seeds, throw it down, and then I'm going to kick it in, and there's nothing to it. Yep.
Beneficials meaning the little microbes that we want to stay living.
Well, all the way from microbes up to, little creepy crawlers.
Yeah. And a lot of these are nitrogen fixers, which are one of those biggest, most important nutrients.
If you have like a clover or something like that as a nitrogen fixer, this is just basically going to hold the soil in place. In the spring, we're good here. You don't want it to be too thick.
Okay.
Do you need any cover crop seeds? In the spring, some gardeners would cut it down and turn it in.
Yeah.
Since I'm no-till, I cut it down, and then I put compost on top of that. As the green part that's up, as that decomposes, that becomes your nutrients for the plants, like compost.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to kick this in with our hoe, and then we're going to plant something pretty in our victory garden.
Yes.
That's going to last us most of the winter.
That's what I like to hear.
Nothing precise about this. You can see we're going to have some tomatoes seeding too.
Yeah.
That's our surprise for next season. And then after this, I'll just put some water on it, and it'll be good to go. We'll be all right.
Very easy.
Yeah, and like I said, this stuff will sprout under almost any condition, and so we'll be good.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's a great solution to keep your garden going and still really improving the soil over the winter time.
Well, if you can't bring in wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow of compost like I am, this is a good way to do it. And you can look deeper into cover crops. A farm, some friends of mine at a farm, Janoski's Farm and Greenhouse, they're using buckwheat before garlic. And so there's all sorts of different ways to do that. And when you get down that rabbit hole, it's just an easy way to improve the soil.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to put some water on, and then we're going to plant something pretty.
Okie doke.
You can really see the soil structure. Even after all this rain, it looks dry just from the drought.
Yeah. I mean, it was yesterday, middle of October, 80 degrees.
Right.
You know, we've had very little rain this whole season. So I am not surprised at all to see it be a drier compost. No matter how good your soil gets, if you have such a dry season.
You can see how it sucks up the water, though.
Yep.
All right,
exactly.
Let's plant something pretty.
Alrighty. All right, Doug, we have two big planters here that we cleared out. One was holding peppers, the other was holding a flower of some sort.
Right,
yeah.
marigolds.
Okay.
And they did great growing in this pit moss.
Yeah.
You know, when we had that drought, because we don't need as much water on those, it saved my butt.
Yes, it does. It's a butt saver for sure.
And so, even though our victory garden is mostly about food, we got to put something pretty in too.
Of course, I was just admiring this right when I saw it. It just took my eye because it's gorgeous.
This is a flowering kale, and it's called Glamour Red.
Glamour Red.
When I had hair, it was red, so they named it after me, Glamour Red. And so, a flowering kale will go well into the winter, and the colder it gets, the better the color gets. And so always when we replant containers, we want to put a little bit more of the good pit moss in here, and then we're going to add water.
And then we're going to plant away. This is really just stunning. It caught my eye right away.
I've never seen one look that way. It just has those shiny leaves.
Yeah, very pretty.
All right, we'll get this all. Oh man, that looks good. That looks good. That's good stuff.
Does.
And you have to have color. You don't have to stop at frost, and we're gonna have a frost soon.
Yeah.
These plants, this flowering kale, they'll just keep going and doing their thing. And when you walk into the garden to look at all our winter crops, our lettuce and our pansies and all those things, and you see that?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to break that up a little bit.
I was gonna say we got a little bit of root balling on the bottom there.
Don't be gentle.
That's one big tip I learned is you don't have to be as gentle as you think.
Nope.
With your plants.
Oh man, look at that. That's gonna be nice. Just the consistency of this stuff is so nice.
It really makes all the difference in the world. Oh, so really even more aggressive.
Yeah.
Even take some of those roots out. Okay.
All right, let's get some water on these. I want to show you one more thing, Ashley. I want to show you the compost pile, what it looks like this time of the season.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of composting for food waste and any of your scraps, again, as long as it's not diseased, you can throw it right into the compost pile. So we're going to go check out Doug's compost pile and see if maybe we can come back in a couple months and see what it's turned into.
That sounds good. Doesn't that look pretty?
Beautiful. I mean, just gorgeous.
I'm going to love walking in here.
Yeah.
At the entryway.
Especially once you're taking something down, now you're planting something, so you have something to look forward to, even though you just got rid of your tomatoes.
And one of the reasons I have it inside here, I got a feeling the deer would love this too.
Yes.
Even though it's bred as an ornamental, it also is an edible kale.
Okay, but a little not as delicious as a normal kale.
Delicious? Did you say delicious for kale?
Okay, so for you, even worse tasting.
Yeah, there you go. Ashley, you missed a few peppers.
Oh no!
Look at that little guy.
Every pepper counts.
So, you know, this looks like a jumbled mess of greens right now, but, you know, first there'll be this stuff. There'll be some stuff coming out of the kitchen. It's almost full. Now we move over to this one, and down in there, this one's been working for a year. It's halfway full. The compost is down there. Okay. So we'll harvest the compost from this one, start new material in here, and by the time this one's filled up, this one will be ready. That's the idea.
Yeah, so it's balancing, and Are you turning this at all?
Oh no, I'm way too lazy for that.
Okay.
Every time you turn it, it's supposed to decompose 50% quicker.
Yeah.
I have a friend that says anybody who tells you they're turning their compost pile is a liar. But I know people who do it, actually.
Yes.
There's no way I'm getting into this tangle of vines and whatever's in here.
Yeah.
It will make compost eventually. Anything that once was living will become compost. It's just how fast you want to get it. I've got some rotating bins that I use and get them quicker, but this is just a great place. Oh, I found another pepper, actually.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that little nugget.
Oh, weird. All right.
Wonderful. Well, until next time, enjoy your garden. Even though we're putting it to bed, there were some great tips. So get some cover crop seeds. Try it out for yourself this year, and we'll see you next time.